Hey guys, OGalbina here, bringing you guys our AP Little Cup Wi-Fi Season 5 Draft Analysis. Yes, we're back, 5th season in a row. This is my Wi-Fi league that I run, if you guys don't know. So it's going to be our 5th season, we're uploading it in a row. We went 10-0 Season 1, lost in Round 1 of playoffs. We went 8-2 in Season 2, we lost in semifinals, I think. Then we went 9-1 Season 3. Lost in finals due to some unfortunate circumstances. And then last season we went 8-2 as well, and we lost in semifinals. So as good as we've done in this league, and as much success we've had, we still don't have our chip here, and that's really what matters the most. So I could care less if I go 6-4, 5-5, barely scraping playoffs. As long as I get into playoffs and I win the championship, I could care less. That's my number one goal going into this is I'm going to sweat it, and I'm going to make, win myself a Little Cup championship finally. So if you guys are excited for this season of AP Little Cup Wi-Fi, be sure to drop a like, drop a sub if you're new, if you enjoy Little Cup Wi-Fi or Little Cup Draft League content. We're one of the really only channels that consistently uploads it. There'll also be people uploading this link down in the description below. Not all the coaches are uploading, it isn't required, but I know some of them plan on doing so. So everybody that plans on uploading, I'll link them down. Our videos are going to be going up every single Wednesday, so, always be on the look for that as well. And yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into our Round 1 pick. So going into this, it didn't have the best draft pick overall, I won't lie to you. Let me look and see exactly when it was, because I don't remember the exact number. I believe it might have been 7. It was 9, so even worse. We're right smack dab in the middle there. And especially in Little Cup, it really sucks to not get a really high pick because there's a big drop between like the top 3 to 5 Mons and the rest of the pool. So last season we were lucky enough to get second. We got Volibee, which was awesome. This season, not so lucky. So my goal going in was to grab the best Mon left on the board that I was comfortable with and go from there. And it ended up being Galarian Farfetch'd. Now, Galarian Farfetch'd is a Mon I'm very, very comfortable with. I used it in a LC Tour Little Cup Legends, I believe it was called. Yeah, it was Legends, which is a really big, tour for money that APA did a little while back. And I was able to make it to semifinals with a really fun Farfetch'd Webs team. And I really, really wanted to try Farfetch'd plus Cutiefly once again. It's a really, really dumb Mon, scrappy, making it be able to hit Ghost, which is really, really nice, and also being immune to Intimidate now is crazy. It gets knockoff coverage, it gets Poison Jab for fairies, you can Brave Bird, you can Quick Attack. This Pokemon's incredibly easy and brain dead to use. You click the offense button. If you can position it well, which I think I'm very good at in Little Cup, is offensive positioning and getting in my breakers, this Pokemon's going to do really well. We have to kind of build a team and formulate around it to where it gets in for free and it's able to take on and break through whole teams a little bit better. It also has access to Sword Stance, which is really, really nice as well, to really break through some slower, fatter teams. And yeah, that's basically going to be Farfetch'd. It was just an easy Mon to build around that I can come in and click buttons with. Now, Round 2, I originally really, really wanted to get Cutiefly coming back, but Vivid and Vivid Color actually ended up grabbing Pawniard Cutiefly, so I didn't get to, remake that, really fun offensive core that we had in Little Cup Legends, and instead I ended up going with Meowth. The reason I went with Meowth is because one has an elite speed tier hitting 19, which is always phenomenal. It's a Pokemon I'm very comfortable with, it has great priority options, and Farfetch'd breaks phenomenally for it. Farfetch'd doesn't care about Ghost coverage because you can just close combat him with Scrappy, but the main thing is that it breaks through Steels and Rocks, and those are really the only things that can kind of pivot into Meowth's Fake Out, Feint, Double Edge kind of shenanigans. You also get U-Turn from Momentum, knock off Water Pulse for, those rock types that you want to, hit with your Technician boost, and it's obviously Technician boost in all these moves, which is great. Priority, really fast, a Pokemon that's just really, really, again, easy to use and very brain dead to use if we can kind of position it well, and it baits in the things that Farfetch'd really does break through and massacre. So I figured that would always be really nice to have. I think Meowth's a really, really good Pokemon. I think it's one of the best tier 2s in the game too. So if I didn't get Cutiefly, this was for sure what I was going to get just based on its value alone. So definitely very worthwhile. And then Round 3, I realized I want something that beats what Farfetch'd beats, doesn't beat when it comes to, like, defensive switch and stuff Farfetch'd. So the main defensive switch into Farfetch'd is always going to be fairies, because Psychics, run the risk of getting knocked off. In Little Cup, they're either not surviving or they're Colbert and they're not Eevio, so they're not very sturdy, and I can usually 2-hit KO them. So it's usually you're going to see fat fairies are going to try and pivot into Farfetch'd, and there aren't a lot of them, but for the ones that there are, like things like Spritzee and Snubble and things like that, actually I don't think Snubble's in the decks, but excuse me, Mons of the sort, I wanted a good Steel type to break them, and I thought there was no other better Mon than Magnemite. Now, we did have to dip into our free points. This is a tier 1 Pokemon, so We did have to draw, dip into our free points for this, but I think it pairs phenomenally with Farfetch'd. It gives me a great Volt Turn Core and Meowth and Magnemite. Magnemite again baiting in those grounds, and if we want to go into our Steel type, threaten them out with Flash Cannon, click Volt Switch. Phenomenal. It gives us something to break through bulky waters. It gives us something to pivot in on the very few fairy types that Farfetch'd doesn't enjoy. It also gives us a psychic resist, so if we ever, end up playing Liv's Abra, we'll have a good check to that thing, which is obviously very, very solid. It's just an overall really good Pokemon. Berry Juice plus Recycle is always a tried and true testament in Little Cup, especially when he got Sturdy on top of that. So it's a great, one-time check to a lot of things if we can keep hazards off the field. And we also get Endure, so we can always, get some Endures off and, guaranteed get our Sturdy back after the Berry Juice, and then threaten something afterwards. So very fun mon, very hard to switch into in Little Cup as well. Flash Cannons sting every ground type that wants to switch in, so it's very it's always fun trying to pivot around Magnemite and LC for sure. So very excited to use Big Mag here, and I think it pairs really well with Farfetch'd and Meowth. Now going into round 4, I ended up grabbing Golett. Reason I grabbed Golett is because I needed a rocker, I needed a ground type, and I figured Golett was a really good mon for the price point that we were looking. It also breaks through Psychics, so another mon to break through bulky Psychics for Farfetch'd, which is obviously very, very solid, and it gives us an electric immunity that's not Magnemite. I don't want to have to switch in my Mag on electrics and 1, not damage them back, and 2, lose my Sturdy, get Volt switched on, stuff like that. So Golett's obviously a very good option for that. It's a very strong mon offensively too. It has great coverage and ghost and ground and fighting and Ice Punch and a bunch of stuff like that. Rock coverage as well. It gets Stealth Rock, like I said. It gets Rock Polish. So definitely a really fun mon utility wise. It's not a mon that's going to come to every game, but it's definitely solid nonetheless. And also gives us a spin blocker for the hazards we get later on and our rocks right now. And rocks being up are really solid for our team right now. So figured Golett was a pretty solid pick here in round number 4. Now for round number 5, I ended up picking up Rowlet. Now, the reason I picked up Rowlet is because look at my ground resist up to this point. I don't have one. My whole team loses to a good ground, so I figured Rowlet would be a really solid, niche option to pick up here in, tier 3 in round number 5. Now, it's not a ground resist, more so it's an immunity, though, even if, something, I guess, clicks Gravity and clicks Earthquake against us, we'll be fine. Now, we do have to worry about things like Rock Slide and Edgequake coverage, but we do have pivots around and ways to stop that and things like that. It gives us Defog, it gives us a Momentum and Baton Pass, it gives us a Flying type, which is always really important in Little Cup. Having Flying spam is great because Flying is a phenomenal offensive typing, especially when you pair it with Grass, because realistically there, again, aren't a lot of Steel types, and if you're not a Steel type, you're a Rock type if you're resisting that Flying type move, or an Electric type, and Leaf Blade is going to rip through you, which is awesome. It gets Swords Dance, it gets Sucker Punch for priority, it can go special as well, so a really, really fun mon. I've enjoyed using it in the past. I think it's a really cool niche option, and really bulky and obnoxious, and we can go Dual Wing Beat instead of Brave Bird if we're like a really bulky set and we don't want to take the recoil. Always definitely an option. So I think that Rowlet is actually very, very solid for this team, making us not auto lose to ground types as we, go through the season. Now, next up, we have a rock type ourselves, being ROGGENROLA. ROGGENROLA gives me another rocker. Up to this point, we only had one in Golett, so ROGGENROLA is going to be able to give me that. It gives me another Sturdy Juice Pokemon, which is awesome. It can go Boom. It gets Body Press now. It can even go for some, some weak armor, fast shenanigans. Obviously, Rock Blast is a great move in LC, and having that Flying Resist that's not just Magnemite is really, really nice. I don't want to put too much pressure on Magnemite to check everything, because then I feel like Magnemite can't, fulfill its offensive capabilities very well. So ROGGENROLA gives me my Rock type, my Rocker, and a secondary Flying Resist, and all that good stuff. And a normal resist. I don't have a normal resist besides Magnemite up to this point. And again, those mons often do have, pretty solid coverage from Mag, whereas ROGGENROLA, while it might have coverage for it, he's very fat and annoying. So it's a little bit harder to take him out with, stab move into coverage. So definitely very solid nonetheless. And I really do enjoy Mr. Big ROGGENROLA here. Next up, we grabbed our third free pick in SMOOCHUM. SMOOCHUM's a very slept on mono draft in my opinion. Now, a couple of these ones I have drafted before. Keep in mind, I think I've drafted Meowth, Golett, Rowlet, Magnemite, ROGGENROLA, and SMOOCHUM. And SMOOCHUM, ROGGENROLA, Magnemite, and Meowth were all on the same team on our Season 2 team, I believe, where we had Volibee as our top tier. I'd love to have Volibee with this team. Unfortunately, we don't. But I think SMOOCHUM's very slept on now. A lot of people don't like it, especially this gen, due to the loss of hidden power and it being stuffed by steals, but there isn't a lot of steel types. It gets Fake Out to break sashes, Nasty Plot to rip through, and Ice is a really good offensive typing when there aren't a lot of steel types in the metagame. Now, obviously, water types do, you know, switch and resist us, but we have big psychics to rip through those things. And it's definitely a really, really solid mon and really, really ridiculously strong in the right matchup. It can honestly rip through a lot of teams because, again, there really isn't great ice resistant Little Cup as a whole. So I think it's actually pretty slept on here in tier 3, and I'm really excited to give it a go again. Now, next up, we grabbed our last tier 2 slot in Dratini. I've been wanting to try Dratini for so long, and I'm not gonna lie, this pick isn't even necessarily like, you know, we needed this Pokemon to win. What it does give us is a good potential, you know, endgame win con with like Dragon Dance and things like that. We didn't have a lot of setup sweepers up to this point. Basically just being like Swords Dance, Farfetch'd, Rock Polish, GOLET, which is very niche, Swords Dance, Rowlet, which is very niche, and Nasty Plot, Smoochum. So I wanted, you know, some more setup. I wanted more priority and extreme speed, which is awesome. This is a great mixed wall breaker. It's great with a scarf. It's great with a life orb, obviously. It can run, you know, really bulky, annoying Dragon Dance sets with EVO or Berry Juice. So this is a really fun mon. I'm actually really excited to use Dratini because I haven't ever gotten the chance to like use it. Besides, I think in my first season of LC Draft, like 2 years ago, I had it, but I didn't really know what I was doing. And it didn't do as well as I thought it, you know, it didn't do as well as it really could have. I'm really excited to, like, you know, let Dratini shine in this season because I really think I can use it well now. Then next up, we grabbed our last free pick in CLAUNCHER. CLAUNCHER gives me a water type, and I know it sounds weird, but I was thinking between this and Popplio as my, you know, bulky water. They're not very bulky each other themselves, but I like CLAUNCHER a little bit more. It gets flip turn just like Popplio, but it gets great coverage. Mega Launcher water pulses sting. We obviously also get, I believe we get Aura Sphere. Do we either get Aura Sphere or Dark Pulse? I think it's Aura Sphere. We also get Ice Beam, Flip Turn, like I said. It can go physical. It gets Aqua Jet for priority. So it's actually a really solid utility low tier mon. And I think in the right matchup, this thing can actually just rip through some teams and just go to town. So I'm actually really excited to use CLAUNCHER. I don't think I've ever seen it get drafted before. So I'm excited to see it do some work here in Season 5. And then lastly, we go to tier 4, and if you've played LC Draft before, you know that, you know, the bottom tier mons, I told you there's a big jump between like the top 3 to 5 mons and then the other tier 1s. There's a big drop from tier 3 to tier 4, which is the smallest tier or the lowest tier in Little Cup. And I kind of got to a point where I kind of prioritize my higher picks. Some seasons I will kind of dip down lower in tier 4 to, you know, ensure I get one of the better ones, one of the ones that are actually like useful and viable. Earlier on this season, I didn't do so. So I didn't really get, you know, a very good Pokemon overall, but I ended up grabbing a Pokemon I really love and a Pokemon I did actually draft in season 2 as well as my tier 4. It's going to be Big LOTAD. Not only is he cute as all hell, one of the cutest first stage Pokemon, one of my favorite Little Cup Pokemon, just because of how damn cute he is. There are going to be, you know, niche matchups every once in a while where we can bring Rain Dance, Swift Swim, LOTAD, and hopefully rip through an unprepared team. I did it once in season 2 against Matt O'Shea. No, actually that was one of our 2 losses that season. I think we started off 0-2 and then won 8 straight, but I remember I brought Rain Dance LOTAD and it was really fun. It's a really fun mon. I think he's really really adorable, and I'm here for him sitting the bench and having a good time. It's like our season 3 team when we drafted Yamper and brought it once and it did nothing. Actually didn't come out of the Pokeball even, but he was cute and I didn't have any other better tier 4s that I could really draft at this point. And that's basically the rationale with LOTAD. Other than that though, I think our team is very solid. I'm very excited to use this. And I think we can hopefully make a run for the championship this season. Now, this league obviously does have great competition for us here. I believe we go up against Tone week 1. Tone is a very solid Little Cup player. We have my boy Kirby, who's the GOAT. We have Big Ant, ITZ Wativa. Slick is playing now. What do you call it? Amel. Amel is playing now, and I'm not excited for that. Lives in the league. Vivid, like I said, is in the league, which is pretty cool. So a lot of really cool names. A lot of, you know, my boy D-Ray's trying Little Cup for the first time, so I'm excited for that. My boy Big from my front office. So there's a ton of people that are going to make this league a lot of fun this season. I'm looking forward to playing each and every one of them that we can. And hopefully we can drive that ship. But yeah, that's basically it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, drop a like. If you're new here, drop a sub. I'd really appreciate it. We're pushing towards 500 by hopefully the end of February. That's my goal right now, but it'll be tough. We're about 40 away, so if we can get there, I'd very much so appreciate it. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.